Hi friends, welcome to today's session. Thank you all for your yesterday's responses. And our question was, what is the maximum strength of Rajya Sabha? The constitution provides that the Rajya Sabha shall consist of 250 members, of which 12 members shall be nominated by the president from persons having special knowledge or practical experience in respect of such matters as literature, science, art and social service, and not more than 238 representatives of the state and the union territories. But Rajya Sabha at present has 245 seats. Of these, 233 members represent the states and union territories, and 12 members are nominated by the president. So we'll move to today's session. First question for the day, with regard to Guru Ravidas, consider the following statements. Statement 1, he was a North Indian mystic poet of Bhakti Movement. And statement 2, one of his famous disciples was Saint Mirabai. So which of the above statements is are correct? Option A 1 only, option B 2 only, option C both 1 and 2, option D neither 1 nor 2. Correct answer here is option C both 1 and 2. Both statements are correct. Guru Ravidas was a North Indian mystic poet of the Bhakti Movement. The Adi Granth of Sikhs and the Panchvani are the literary works of Guru Ravidas. He is believed to be a disciple of Bhakti saint poet Ramananda and a contemporary of the Bhakti saint poet Kabir. And one of his famous disciples was Saint Mirabai. Just giving some information about Bhakti Movement. Bhakti was accepted as a means to attain moksha along with jnana and karma. The development of this cult took place in South India when the Nayanas and Alvas moved against the austerities propagated by Buddhist and Jain schools, which means against the strictness followed by these schools. So Bhakti Movement, the Nayanas and Alvas were against this, and the Buddhist and Jain schools professed that ultimate devotion to God was the means of salvation. And Bhakti movement started around 7th to 9th centuries, and people were no longer satisfied with a religion which emphasized only ceremonies. And this Bhakti cult is a combined result of teachings of various saints through the then times. For example, Shankara, a Bhakti saint, propounded Advaita philosophy, and Ramanuja, a Bhakti saint, propounded Vishishta Advaita. Likewise, teachings of various saints formed the Bhakti movement, and each of them had their own views, but the ultimate basis of this cult was a general awakening against useless religious practices and unnecessary strictness. This movement was later responsible for many rites and rituals associated with the worship of God by Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs of the Indian subcontinent. For example, a kirtan at a Hindu temple, a qawwali at a dargah by Muslims, and singing of Gurbani at a Gurudwara are all derived from the Bhakti movement. And a major thing to remember is that the Bhakti cult emerged as a strong platform against the casteism. And this question you may find it unimportant, but UPSC in the previous years asked about Bhakti movement and sometimes specifically about saints also. For example, in 2018 mains GS paper 1, they asked, Bhakti movement received a remarkable reorientation with the advent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was a Bhakti saint. So they have asked, and the topic and the informations regarding saints are very important. It is important in your prelims as well as mains. And a small task for you, please post the names of other Bhakti movement saints which you know in the comment section. So we will move to the second question. With reference to pangolin, consider the following statements. Statement 1, it is the only scaly mammal on the planet. And statement 2, Chinese pangolin has been listed as critically endangered by the IUCN. And statement 3, Indian pangolin is a Schedule 1 category protected animal under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Which of the above statements is correct? Option A 1 and 2 only, option B 2 and 3 only, option C 1 and 3 only, option D 1, 2 and 3. Correct answer here is option D 1, 2 and 3. All the above statements are correct. It is the only scaly mammal on the planet according to the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species CITES, It is also the most illegally traded vertebrate, and Chinese pangolin is listed as critically endangered, whereas Indian pangolin is listed as endangered. It is also a Schedule 1 category protected animal under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Let's look into Wildlife Protection Act 1972. It is a very important act pertaining to wildlife. The Wildlife Act provides for a state wildlife advisory boards, regulation of hunting wild animals and birds, establishment of sanctuaries and national parks, etc. It also regulates trade in wild animals, animal products, and judicially impose penalties for violating the act. For that, it creates schedules for protecting the plants and animals. Here you can see the chart. Schedule 1 and Schedule 2 are most protected ones, and pangolin is a Schedule 1 protected animal. And here first 5 schedules are for animals and the last schedule is for the plants. Please go through it. And that is pangolin, the scaly mammal, and there is a doubt that pangolin could be responsible for all the mess we are facing now, the spread of deadly coronavirus in China. The scientists have said that after they found a genome sequence separated from the pangolin, 99% identical to that from the infected people. And our quiz question for today is related with this topic only. 3 animals are given here: gharial, Indian wild ass, and wild buffalo. And the question is, according to Wildlife Protection Act 1972, which of these animals cannot be hunted by a person? So, which of these animals cannot be hunted by any person under Wildlife Protection Act? So, it is a UPSC Prelims previous year question. They asked in 2017 this question. And please post your answers as comments. The last question for the day, with reference to Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Amendment Act of 2018, consider the following statements. Statement 1. A preliminary inquiry is not essential before lodging an FIR under the Act. And Statement 2. Approval of senior police officials is mandatory before preliminary inquiry. And Statement 3. There is no provision for anticipatory bail to the accused being charged with SCST Act. So which of the above statements are correct? Option A 1 and 2 only. Option B 2 and 3 only. Option C 1 and 3 only. Option D 1, 2 and 3. Correct answer here is option C 1 and 3 only. The SCST Act was originally passed in 1955 by the Parliament as the Untouchability Offences Act. In 2015, a 2-judge bench of Supreme Court ruled that there were instances of abuses of the Act by the vested interest. So it laid down guidelines for arrest under the Act to avoid false implications of the Act. The court said that a preliminary inquiry may be conducted by a DSP to ensure allegations are not frivolous or motivated before a case is registered, and it added that public servant, if accused, can be only arrested with the permission of appointing authority, and others can be arrested only after the permission is granted from the senior superintendent of police of the district. And why court took this decision? Because National Crime Records Bureau data for 2015 said that closure reports had been filed around 16% of the complaints under the Act, and over 75% of such cases taken up by the courts had resulted in acquittals or withdrawal of the cases. So to bypass these guidelines by the courts, government introduced Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Amendment Act of 2018. And it said that preliminary inquiry shall not be required for registration of a FIR against any person. And secondly, the arrest of a person accused of having committed an offence under the Act would not require any approval. And thirdly, the provisions of Section 438 of CRPC, which deals with the anticipatory bail, shall not apply to a case under this Act, notwithstanding any judgment or order of any court. So that were the amendments made, and several petitions were filed challenging the amendments, and recently the Supreme Court refused to stay these amendments to the SCST Act. That's all for today, guys. Don't forget to comment the names of Bhakti saints, answer to the quiz question and your scores below. We will meet tomorrow. Thank you for watching.